Natalie said, my name is Kate. I was the program manager of corporate social responsibility up until Monday morning. I am now the corporate social responsibility team's analyst. So something you'll definitely get a feel for as a part of this workshop is when it comes to being a part of this industry, there is so much room for growth. There is so much opportunity for change. And, you know, I have been with the company for 5 years this June. I started as a part-time dispensary associate, and I have been sorry about that. It muted me. But yeah, so started on the team as a part-time dispensary associate. And over the past 5 years, I've had the opportunity to be assistant manager for one of our store locations. I have been the outreach manager. I've been the program manager. And as I said, now I am the analyst. And so with that being said, let me get my screen shared for you all. Okay, and so as those of you who've signed up for this are aware, this is our workshop on pivoting your career path. It is about more than just skills. This has been brought to you by two of the groups within Curaleaf, the Women's Cannabis Collective Employee Resource Group and the CuraForce Workforce Development Subcommittee. To go over the agenda, we're going to do an event introduction, tell you a little bit about Curaleaf, go over the event overview, and then you will meet our panelists for the main panel, the entry-level breakout room, the intermediate to executive level breakout room, and then we're going to finish up with some questions and a debrief. Welcome, we are so glad that you're here. Dress for Success and the Curaleaf Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion team are thrilled to host for you this workshop on pivoting your career path. It's about more than just skills. Our why. We're so excited to partner with Dress for Success as there's synergy between our company and the organization of Dress for Success. The mission of Curaleaf is to have a diverse and inclusive culture. The mission of the Women's Cannabis Collective is to support women in the workforce. And the mission of the CuraForce Workforce Development Subcommittee is to assist in building a proud and confident workforce. If you are looking to pivot your career path to a different industry or focus, join this workshop to learn about how to best position yourself for a new career path. Curaleaf is a leading wellness company in the United States, and we're actually now global. In this session, a team of diverse panelists from the team will share their personal experiences on how they navigated career changes into new industries and positions. Spoiler alert, it is not just the skills on your resume, but factors that make you unique that can help transform your career. For a little bit about Curaleaf, we are the leading vertically integrated U.S. multi-state cannabis operator, and our mission is to improve lives by providing clarity around cannabis and confidence around consumption. As a high-growth cannabis company known for quality, expertise, and reliability, the company and its brands, including Curaleaf and Select, provide industry-leading service, product selection, and accessibility across the medical and adult use markets. We currently have operations in 23 states with over 102 dispensaries, 22 cultivation sites, and over 30 processing sites. And we employ over 4,600 team members across the United States. And now I will hand it off to Natalie.
Unmute myself. Awesome. All right, so we are about to get started. I hope you're excited. On this slide, you're going to see what we anticipate doing in this space together today. We're going to have a robust and amazing main panel. We will get to hear from 5 powerhouse women from Curaleaf who will answer a few questions. And if you have other questions, we will be able to spend a couple of minutes just answering questions that you may drop in the chat. I'll do my best to keep up with it. But no, if your questions aren't answered and they're in the chat, we will make it happen. We will find a way to get those responses back to you electronically. So at this point, we can advance to the next slide so we can introduce the panel. And what I will say again for everyone is if you can Modify your view by hitting the view button on your screen and going to side-by-side speaker. I will be pinning these panelists one at a time, so you will be able to see them in center screen when we stop sharing this PowerPoint for the panel piece. You'll see that we have Lynette Austin, and they'll all introduce themselves when we get started. Colleen McQuaid, Brooke Zutler, Nicole Leja, and she'll correct me if I mispronounce that, and Kimbra Arezi. So we're excited to be hearing from these women, and you can see they're in various spaces, and they've been with the organization for different amounts of time. So curious about what they're going to share. Right before we get started, if you could stop sharing screen now, I'm going to go ahead and launch a quick poll. So those of you who can actually respond to the poll, it would be great. I'm going to launch it right now. There are a couple of questions that you will see on the screen. I've launched that poll. The first question, do you feel your skills are being valued in your current company role? The second question, do you think you make what you do makes a difference in the world? That's an interesting question. The third question, are you here today because you feel your career has plateaued? And the fourth and final question, does the idea of leaving the industry you've been in for a long time scare you? We are curious. We want to know. So if you can answer the poll, I will give it another 2 minutes for everyone. We're doing well. We've got 60% so far. So if you can just respond to that quick poll as you see it on your screen, then we will look forward to sharing the result of that poll in just 1 more minute. Okay. All right, so I am going to end the poll now. And let's share the results. You should be seeing this on your screen. So 56% of you feel that your skills are being valued in your current company and or role. And 82% think that what you do makes a difference in the world, which is great. We need purpose, right? And we're neck and neck, wow, with question number 3. Are you here today because you feel your career has plateaued? Interesting. So there are a lot of curious people here like, not so sure, but I want to know what I might be missing. And the last question, does the idea of leaving the industry you've been in for a long time scare you? 62% of you say, no, I'm maybe ready to go, or I am open, right? We love the open. So that's good. Oh, wonderful. So we have a good sense of who is here today and what may be motivating you and driving you. So that's great. So we are going to now just take a quick moment. I am going to pin our panelists. Again, if you can go ahead and change your view to speaker. That way you will be able to see our panelists as they pop onto the screen. I'm doing triple duty here. This is so exciting for me. I'm like, okay. Who am I missing? I am missing Brooke. Where are you? There you are. Awesome, Brooke. Adding you to the spotlight. And the last one, Nicole. Are you here? Nicole is here. Let me find Nicole. All right, going back the wrong way. As soon as I find Nicole, we can get started. Nicole was probably the first one in the room. Kimber.
Me too.
All right.
Hi.
There you go. Okay. And am I still missing Nicole? There she is.
Yay.
There, yay. The yay worked. Okay. The gang is all here. Wonderful. So we have center screen, and I hope you have your view on speaker. We have Colleen, we have Kimber, Brooke, Nicole, and Lynette. Thank you, ladies, from Curaleaf, our amazing team. We have a couple of questions for these ladies. And so I'm going to get started right away and ask the first question of Lynette. Yes. What was the primary motivating factor or the main issues that led you to make a career change?
Absolutely. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Dress for Success. And hello, everyone. Really excited to be here. So going right into that, some of the main factors. So I was working currently at the time, 3.5 years ago. My background has been corporate HR, specifically in that pharmaceutical industry. And I really felt with the company and with myself was very stagnant. There was very minimal opportunity for growth. I felt that a lot that I have to contribute, not necessarily was being valued. I also looked around and also above me, and there wasn't anyone that looked like me. And so that definitely was some concern. And so that was really what I decided to kind of break away, started doing my own HR consulting and started finding my love for startups. And funny how things work and the people you know, because that same company that I used to work with someone was the same reason that I heard about this opportunity at Curaleaf. And so I saw this opportunity where I realized I was lacking that growth potential, inclusiveness, where I see people both beside me and above me, where that opportunity is welcomed. And I saw this opportunity, and I knew I also had a responsibility. And so I infused the two, and that's what led me into this current role with Curaleaf. Thank you.
Wonderful. Good way of using your network, walking into unexpected treasure and opportunities. And because you were open and looking, you took advantage, which was great. Okay, awesome. Our next question is for Kimberly. Kimber, are you ready for your question? And that question is, did you have any specific mentors guiding you through your decision to change and actually transition? How did you build that network, the network that you needed to get into your new space?
Well, I definitely was not looking to transition. I was in a job in the retail sector, doing retail development and product development, where I did feel really appreciated. And I felt that I had all of these creative ideas to offer, and they were really rewarded and recognized, but I was making children's toys, and I didn't feel very fulfilled with what I was doing, because all I was really contributing to was helping people spend more money and buy more things. So as I started to look at how my industry was really getting more and more narrow, I started to looking at things that I was really passionate about. And my mentor said to me, you love sharing your experience about how you've helped yourself with medical cannabis. Have you ever thought about taking a moment to sell yourself instead of selling a product? And I said, no, I don't really want to sell Rodan Fields or anything. And she said, no, what if you could go out and just really share your story and try to make connections on a really personal level instead of on a big corporate level? And like Kate, I started at Curaleaf as a part-time dispensary associate. It was one of the greatest opportunities that had ever been bestowed upon me, because no matter what your background is, when you come into a dispensary, everybody's equal. Everybody's looking for something, and that's to make their life a little better than it was before they walked in. So having that passion and having a mentor was a great start, but I did what I would do in any other industry, and I threw myself into community. So when I was in toys, I was a very big part of Women in Toys, and I found a similar enterprise in cannabis women grow. And the amazing thing about it is you walk into the space, and like today, there are also men there to support and also help grow their businesses, but you don't have to be somebody who actually wants to touch the plant. And it opened up this whole awareness for me that while I had a love of plant-based medicine, there were so many different opportunities for people who were looking to transition their careers, whether it was in finance, advertising, marketing, brand development, packaging, sales. And all of a sudden, 3 years later, going from being a part-time dispensary associate to being the director of sales is really because of the network I was able to grow and the connections I was able to foster within our organization, within our patient-based community, and within that actual sector of cannabis itself.
Wow, that was a true learning experience there for you. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was very interesting. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna move right along. We have some great feedback in the chat from folks who are listening to what's being said and sharing their responses or their feeling on what you're sharing, which is great. It's all positive so far. So let's keep it going. Okay, my next question is for Colleen. So Colleen, are you ready for your question?
I'm ready.
Okay, what were the pros and cons of a non-traditional career? What were your perceived risks in making this change? What paid off when you made the change and what didn't?
Okay. So, well, I'm just going to start off. I think that I chose a non-traditional career well before I came into cannabis. I have a master's in international peace and conflict resolution. And I remember the day when I was working in my master's program when I was working as a third party to a pharmaceutical company, doing social work, and I loved my job, and I was definitely making a difference in a lot of people's lives at that point. So I was working with a really good, really good drug company, and we were helping a lot of people, and I decided to leave and walk away and go travel the world to conflict zones for like 6 months. And I just knew at that point that a traditional career wasn't my career path. And when I did some more social work, I did some more things, and eventually I got a little burned out on it, and I started selling glass pipes. And that was like how I ended up in the medical cannabis field, is via the glass art community, which I love. And it was a really scary transition. I left a large salary, a much higher salary at that point to become I started out as a dispensary associate. It only lasted for a week for me, but I and I kept moving along, and I've caught up to myself almost, and I've been really happy. I mean, this is the pros are like I'm happy every day. Like I love my job. I love my patients that I get to work with. I love my team members. Besides running a dispensary, I'm leader of an employee resource group in Curaleaf that focuses on community service and volunteerism. And I mean, we do all kinds of projects across the country to help our communities that we're a part of as an organization. And I feel so fulfilled. So, you know, it was a big risk. I was terrified when I decided to really just change my career, and to the biggest risk was was salary, and that I wasn't going to be able to take care of myself. And literally within a week I was like, I'm okay, because I just worked hard and I showed up, and I have a lot of passion for cannabis, and I really love plant medicine. So it came natural. And when you put your heart in something, I think it always pays off. So I feel like there's lots of pros, lots of cons, but it was worth it every single step of the way. And I would do it again in a second.
Wow, that is some story, because yeah, you definitely had some training in another area. So that was a huge departure, but what a way it paid off for you to, and as you said, like the anticipation is worse than the actual. So it's, definitely. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to move to Nicole. And Nicole, are you ready for your question?
I am.
Okay, awesome. All right, here's your question, Nicole. How did you sell your transferable skills when you had not worked in the industry you were moving into? What best practices did you use to prepare for that reinvention process?
That's a great question. And thank you for having me on this panel. So I was 20 years in the environmental lab industry and had worked my way from entry level up to a senior position. So what I did was reevaluate what I enjoyed doing. And I designed 3 different resumes from those roles. One was operations, one was quality control and compliance, and then one was sales and development, business development. And out of those 3, I really love ops and I do like quality. The sales, I can sell ice to an Eskimo if I love that ice, but I'm not a true salesperson. So I had to be careful about what I applied for in that role. And I had taken a few months off after being really unhappy at my job and kind of reset my mind and my perspective. And as I started to look for a role, I saw compliance director for a cannabis company, and I've been intrigued with the industry, and I applied, and literally within an hour I had a phone interview. And it was between this role and a role with a more established company, but I loved the idea of being part of something and helping build it. So I jumped in with both feet, and I haven't been happier. In the last 3 years, I smile every day. I'm like Colleen.
Wow, I would love to smile every day. Actually, I do smile every day, which is great. So, wow, that I love the, researching what you enjoy doing, taking the time to reset. And really, this goes for any industry where you're thinking that this might not be what your background is in, but the work is what I love. So you followed the work, which led you to a different path. And I think that's a very interesting observation is, follow the work. What do you enjoy doing? How do you approach things? And how do you feel about doing certain things? And I love many of us are doing jobs that we're good at. We may feel appreciated, but we get that pit in our stomach, like you're like, oh, here we go again. You're not, don't really want to be there, but you're there. So that's great. Okay, Brooke. Are you ready for your question?
I am ready. Game on.
Bring it on. Okay, here we go. How did you rationalize taking a leap of faith personally and professionally and financially? Were there unforeseen consequences that you wish you had been better prepared to manage or deal with?
So I'm still rationalizing. Working in cannabis for me was totally unexpected. Similar to Lynette's story, I was working in an industry, it became stagnant, had lost my sense of purpose with the mission of, the organizations I worked for had. So I was in retail, we were going digital. It was at the time of the retail crisis. Big box retail stores, flagship stores were declining. I didn't have that person-to-person contact with my customers anymore. The people I led and trained, we didn't have that anymore. The industry was really on a depression. So I lost my sense of love for why I got into that in the first place. And that was to make a difference in women's lives and make them feel good about, what they're doing and what they're wearing and having that self-confidence. So I knew when I switched my career, I needed to have something that led me to a purpose. So I found that with cannabis, and it was really easy to rationalize because we do so much to help so many people every single day. And like Kimber said, you don't have to physically touch the plant to have that effect on people. So that's, how I rationalized it. And I was like, I don't want to be waking up every day not loving what I do, or at least being passionate about what I'm doing, or be able to put 100% of myself into my day-to-day job. It's not fair to me, and it's not fair to the other people I work with. And then as far as the unforeseen consequences, not really any consequences, but I think hurdles. We're building this plane as we're flying it. I think a lot of us on this call We're doing things for the first time. So, you know, if I had known about the perceived consequences, I might have turned away, I might have turned around and said, oh, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is, you know, nuts. But we do it with such a great group of people every single day. You know, I remember just working with Keisha the first time I met her. She's also on this panel. We're literally building policies, we're building compliance, we're building training, we're doing it day to day. And it's really with the people that you work with every single day that make those hurdles and consequences better. And then you have a great result at the end. So that's really, you know, the consequences paid off. The long
I
hours.
think that is so great. And, you know, what's true is everything we do is a risk, right? So there is a risk. It's just whether it's a traditional risk or a non-traditional. And again, while, you know, this is the Curaleaf presentation, this great train of thought on these questions really apply across the board to what are you doing to make sure you enjoy what you do, and how do you view risk? It's seems like it was worth it for you guys, which is great. So kudos to all of you. Okay, so as we wind out on the panel, I have a lightning rod question that everyone is going to answer. I'm going to ask you to try to keep it brief so that we can then move into the next phase of this amazing program. I'm sure everyone's enjoying hearing from you guys because you've been spot on with your feedback and good level of energy, if I say so myself. So here's the question. And I'm going to ask that the order be Lynette, Kimberly, Nicole, Colleen, and then Brooke. What is the I wish I knew this advice that you'd like to share with today's participants? What is the I wish I knew this advice that you would like to share with today's participants?
Thank you, Natalie. So definitely, we do not have free samples, okay? Like that is always the very first thing that people ask and think, but no, seriously. So looking at that in hindsight and coming into this industry, I honestly thought it would be easy. Like I legit was like, how hard is it going to be to sell weed or hire people to sell weed or train people about cannabis? It is very challenging. It is also very fun. It is also very rewarding. It is something that is extremely passionate, but for sure, just due to several reasons within this industry, compliance, regulatory laws, the list goes on. It absolutely is not as easy as what people think. We definitely do not sit around all day and pass a bong. So in hindsight, I look back, I definitely would have really researched more of the laws and strict regulations and set myself up a little bit more than thinking, this is going to be a walk in the park. So that's my feedback.
Awesome. Thank you. And you know what? Before the next person, I'm going to ask Angela to answer that question too. What is the I wish I knew this advice that you'd like to share with today's participants?
You know, so I am in a dispensary. I'm on the front door sales floor, and what I wish I knew going into this, and I'm sorry if this sounds a little cliche, but was how much emotion it takes to work in a medical cannabis dispensary. And I love it. But for instance, today I'd mentioned, Natalie, like I'm just in a state, I've been in the dispensary all day, and it takes a lot of that emotional energy to do this job. And I am passionate. If I wasn't passionate, I would have been out the door quite a while ago.
Wow, that's great. I love that. And you know, just before we advance, I know we've heard the dispensary, but Angela, can you just tell us who is in the dispensary? Just really, really briefly.
Do you mean employee-wise or patient-wise?
Patient, people.
So I'm in a medical only. Interestingly, I looked at numbers actually. I'm in Illinois. A lot of who's in the dispensary are very sick people in a lot of pain. In Illinois, over 70% of our patients in FY20 were over the age of 40. These are people, I want to say like 40% or more are over the age of 60. So people who have chosen to walk away from big pharma, people who are suffering not only with ailments, but also with side effects from the drugs that they are trying to walk away from and coming to cannabis instead.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Kimberly.
I wish I had known something similar to what Angela just shared. I had no idea how big of a commitment making this connection with my community would take of me. And I had no idea that I lived in such a stigmatized community. I had no idea that I'm so proud of what I do, that being able to use my patient story helps people that I pass by in Costco and BJ's on a weekly basis and know that we have a little secret between us. I help you with ... But I had no idea that putting myself out there in 2019, 2020 would end up getting me targeted with Child Protective Services, with people in my community no longer looking to applaud me for being an advocate in the special needs community and looking to me as being that person you come to. Instead, I became something that was less than, because I was willing to admit that I had a disability, that I wasn't ashamed of how I treated myself, and I wasn't ashamed to ask for more. And then once I found out how to get it, to be able to give that back. And while that's such a rewarding thing to have in your job, as Angela said, there are days that you genuinely go back and there's just nothing left, because you wonder what happened. How did it work out with him with those chews? You know, was there a bad reaction too? And every person on this panel goes that extra step, because for us, it is just a commitment to make sure that our patients are able to move forward, whether we're an adult use state or a medical state.
Wow, awesome. We're learning so much, and that the real humanity behind the business is so important for us to embrace. Hey, Nicole, you're next.
So I wish I knew how far behind this industry actually was compared to other structured industries. In some ways, we're so advanced with our medicine and our technology and our research, and in others, we're stigmatized, right? So one of the benefits, if there is a benefit of COVID, is being declared an essential business and everyone recognizing how critical our dispensaries and our production are to so many people in this country. So just happy again to be part of it, and eye-opening to see how so many government and other businesses don't support us, but want to do business with us. So.
That's that polite contradiction, right?
Yes.
Excuse me, but it's not Monday. You're the Monday person I talk to. Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. Colleen?
So I think the one thing that I would really just to know going into cannabis is that you have to be adaptable and flexible. Like everything changes every day. Like the regulations change every day, your patients change, all of it, it all changes every single day. The research behind cannabis updates on a regular, like the things you find out. It's just always, I feel like there's a lot of use. It's just flexibility. Like if I love being flexible, so this has worked out great, but there's a lot of need to be adaptable and flexible in this industry just because it is new. And like Nicole was saying, like our regulations change. There's so many different things that this industry, because we are an alternative industry, is not caught up to all these other things that are so well established. And it's constantly like picking up the slack on that and figuring it out and making a new standard operating procedure because you face something different that day. It's like constant, and being able to be adaptable and flexible is like the most important thing I think when coming into cannabis, like knowing it's not going to be exactly what you picture, but it's probably going to be awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Brooke?
Well, to mirror everything everyone else was saying, but on top of that, I would definitely say I wish I knew how intricate the industry was. You know, I started building education and training curriculums and platforms, and just knowing that each state you know, I started on a national level, so we have 23 states in our portfolio, and just knowing how intricate all the details, the regulations, the guidelines, you know, like everyone was saying, they could change day to day, and then having to keep track of that for 23 different states. You know, it's not like you sell a t-shirt and you can sell it in every state in America, or even over the border in Canada or overseas. Everything is highly detailed and intricate. So, you know, knowing that, wow, you know, we deal with it on a daily basis, but like you said, we're agile, we're nimble, we move quickly, you know, we really get it done. So.
Wow. Well, that is certainly so true. And I just applaud all of you for, there's a bit of bravery in the room, right? To be moving forward in a career that industry, where the industry is still being, the jury's still out, and things are still happening. Okay, well, we have a lot of people interested in finding out more today, and they are here and will be joining breakout rooms. So thank you. Can we give those of you who have your cameras on, give a round of applause for our panelists. They did that. They definitely did. And thank you all for sharing with this room. Lots of courage in the room. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. Our next step is to go into breakout. I am opening up the breakout rooms right now. What's different this time around is we have 2 rooms. You registered for either just getting started, 5 years or under, or well on the way. In opening these breakout rooms, you're going to move yourself into your room. If you're having difficulty, I can assist you with moving. The rooms are open right now. You should see the breakout rooms available. And I just want to ask you to click on the room that you're going to join. If your experience is 5 years or less, you are in room 1. If you are more than 5 or 10 years, you're well on the way. You're in room 2. Good. Awesome. So welcome back. I see snaps. I see hands up in the air. Wonderful. I'm so glad that you guys had time to have conversations in the room. So I'm just going to ask for one person from each room from our Curaleaf team to do just a quick share if there was something that really was striking that was in the conversation, if it really, people were chewing on it really well and it was great. Would love to just hear a quick share out, maybe 2 from each room since we had 2 big groups, the just getting started and the well on our way. So if you, Curaleaf team, if we could have a share, that would be great.
This is Stephanie from the under 5 years room. So what I would like to share, I think what was wonderful is really everyone hearing other people's stories, because there was so many things to relate to. People who came from similar industries or had similar situations or had medical leaves or the pandemic. So a lot of different things. So I think being able to share our stories and let everyone know it's not just about, we're not the only ones, and other people have and are experiencing the same things we are, and we're still able to overcome it. And so I think that was very important. And the second thing, I think, especially when you're trying to get into a new industry and maybe you don't know a lot of people, is to really use like LinkedIn and social network to reach out to people. So many people are applying for the same jobs and we need a little leg up. And a good way to do that is to be aggressive on social media and LinkedIn and those type of platforms, to have direct contact with people that can actually at least get your foot in the door, and then it's up to you to make of it what you can.
Love the make of it what you can. Okay, great. Is there anyone else from that just getting started room?
Does it have to be a speaker?
Well, Felina, you are speaking, so go right ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I love the Ramona, because I too deal with challenges, and she disclosed, and that's rare. I'm in that industry where you can share and disclose whether you're working as a provider for healthcare or the recipient. And that was bold of her. And that let me know she persevered and she's going to go and soar and do all those good things that we see that these women are representing, and letting us know as women that we can be on that plateau of forming ourselves in a way that we could be independent and know that we're self-sufficient. And also the other panelists that were in room 2 as well, that their stories were so real, because it's it's a serpent in the atmosphere when we're in groups and on Zoom, where we don't know when someone is forthcoming, but we have an inertia from our indecisions from within. So to see that was it's just been like to come on, because I wasn't going to come on tonight. It was like, no, I've been coming on for a minute because I will miss going, come, and miss my meetings and things with you guys. And so for you to have this platform available for us to listen to is so uplifting. Even if I don't go into the cannabis business, I didn't think I was available or able to do so because of my person that I am in society, you know, deemed a different kind of individual because of who I am. So to know that, you know, these women are represented, it's just so beautiful. And I'm sure the other people that were in the group with me can say the same thing. It was just, this is so good. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Felina. That was beauteous. Thank you so much. Okay, room 1. I see you. Shout out to Ramona. Thank you, Ramona, for setting that tone. Anyone else from room, okay, 2. Room 2? Can I have a Curaleaf rep from room 2? Drive this bus.
Sure.
Okay, who was that? Anyone from Curaleaf from room 2?
Yes, it's Keisha.
Thank you. Go right ahead, dear.
Good evening, everyone. For those who weren't in the second breakout room with our group. So 2 takeaways from our group was, number 1, that there's discomfort and growth. And it doesn't, you know, those challenges don't mean that you're limited. And the second, I guess, word of advice that I would provide is that when interviewing and looking for your next career step or job, remember, we spend so much time preparing for the interview of how we're going to present ourselves to the employer. But I always tell individuals who I encounter that it's an opportunity for you to interview the employer as well. So rather than preparing of how you're going to sell yourself, you should be asking questions about how they're going to benefit and be an asset to you in the next stage in your life and career.
Okay, so don't forget to switch the table so you get the full 360-degree view of what you might be stepping into. Maybe they're not good enough for you, who knows? But take the opportunity. Anyone else from that room wanting to share, please share. As we wind down our time together, I'm gonna turn it over to Kate. Is there one other person?
I have a share.
Oh, okay. Yes, Venice, go ahead.
A quick one, Natalie. Oh, so it's so ironic that I got contacted yesterday through LinkedIn by someone who's looking for someone who does what I do to join a cannabis group in Santa Barbara. So Natalie, I wanted to talk to you about that and share that information with you.
Wonderful.
It's just so ironic to me that I didn't even realize that we were doing Curaleaf today. So it's just got to be serendipitous. I don't know what else to say.
Something's aligned, so that's great. Okay, wonderful. Opportunity knocks. We heard several times. I wasn't looking, but guess what? All of a sudden, something became available. Some opportunity came knocking at my door. Okay, and so we're really at the end of our time together. I'm going to turn this over to Kate, and Kate is going to share her screen again and take us home. Okay, well, I guess that was the debrief. Sorry, Kate. Go right ahead.
Oh, you covered it. I would say if anybody has any additional comments, please feel free to put it in the chat. But no matter what your walk of life, no matter what your level of experience, it is never too late to pivot careers. If there's anything that was inspiring to you during today's workshop, if there's any ways that you plan to use this new information as you look forward to a new career, or if you have any planned next steps, please feel free to put them in the chat and we would love to see them. But I wanted to make sure to share this slide. If you have any questions, you can always visit us at curaleaf.com. You can also always send us over an email at dei@curaleaf.com. That stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And that is the group who worked so hard to help get this event together for all of you today.
Awesome. Well, that's wonderful. I am sure that everyone is walking away with something. We had good energy in the room. It was really exciting to have you guys here. If you could stop sharing, Kate, and everyone else in the room, if you could make sure that we give a rousing standing ovation. Okay, so sit, but clap for our Curaleaf presenters and everyone who shared today. It was wonderful being with all of you. Thank you for taking the time to participate in this workshop. It means that, you know, we are providing content that you're interested in and find insightful and helpful. We hope it helps you. Drop in the chat that next step that Kate asked about. What are you going to do next? And visit Curaleaf if you have that curiosity and want to step into a brave space with the ladies who shared so much. Go for it. Don't hold back. There's nothing wrong with exploring. So,
and wait, how about a round of applause for Natalie, who's absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much.
I just enjoy all of you. You fuel the energy. So I love it. Thank you for being here with us. I love seeing all of your beautiful faces. Have a great night. For the Women of Dress for Success, visit the community.dressforsuccess.org, where we will have this recording once I edit out some of my nonsense. But we'll have that recording for everyone to see. Thank you, everyone. Have a